guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney, and in my first video I'm going to be sharing with you guys some important lessons I've learned throughout this past year in 2018. So the first lesson I'm going to share with you guys is I've learned that it's important to have a few close friends as opposed to having lots and lots and lots of friends. And so throughout this last year, I've had a lot of friends, but I've also learned that it's important to just have a few close friends, people that you can lean on, people that you know that are going to support you, and people that are going to have your back. I think sometimes we get caught up in wanting to be popular and wanting to have lots and lots of friends, and that's cool and stuff, but I also think that it's important to just have a few close friends that you know that you can trust, people that are always going to be there for you, and people that are willing to pray for you when you're having a bad day, people that you know that you can lean on when you're having a bad day. Something else that I've learned in this past year is forgiveness, and that's something that I think that I'm going to continue to have to work on in this next year. It's not something that I just woke up one day this past year and realized, oh, I have this whole forgiveness thing all figured out, but it's something that I've been working on, and it's a process, and I think it's a process that a lot of us are still working on, and we don't have it all figured out. So this past summer I went to church camp, and I was a counselor there, and our speaker that we had for the week, he talked a lot about forgiveness and how if we don't learn to forgive the people that are around us, we're going to continue to sabotage all of the relationships that we have around us, whether that's friendships or family, or that's romantic relationships. And that just kind of was something that just kind of sunk in with me, and it was something that I've just kind of been processing. And I think that forgiveness is something that a lot of us have a hard time just dealing with in general, and we don't necessarily know how to process it. So I think that that's something that as the new year continues, that's something that I'm going to continue to process and to think about. And another life lesson that I kind of thought about a lot during this past year is a lot of times we think that when something happens or when we kind of drift away from God, that we think it's because God moved, when in reality it's because we've moved. So a lot of times, I'm a creature of habit, and I go to church every Sunday, and I'm involved in a lot of Bible studies and small groups, and I would like to say that I read my Bible all the time, but that's just not the truth. I live a busy life, and I get busy and caught up in things, and so that's just not the truth. And so, but like I said, I'm a creature of habit, and so when I get out of my normal routine, and say I miss a Sunday at church, or I'm sick and I don't get to go to small group or something, then all of a sudden my routine is kind of thrown off, and then all of a sudden I start to distance myself from God. And so for the longest time I would think that God was moving away from me, when in reality it was me that was growing apart from God. And so that was something that I just kind of came to the realization this year, that when that kind of happened, so I kind of need to change my mindset and realize hey, I need to start going back to church, or I need to start reading my Bible more, or I need to go back to small group, or I need to ask my friends to pray for me, or somehow I need to get myself plugged back into the Word of God so that I'm not drifting farther and farther away from God. And then another thing that I learned this year is that it's so important to make time for the things that matter to us and the things that are important to us. And I think a lot of times that we're so busy, and we just kind of go with our daily lives. We get into this routine, and sometimes we don't always make time for things that are important. And so this year I've kind of just learned that it's really important to take time for ourselves, and I've learned that self-care is really important. So sometimes my friends have asked me to hang out with them, or to go to dinner, or to come hang out with them, and I've had to turn them down because I've just needed a night to myself. So I've just really learned this year that self-care is really important. And then another thing that I've really learned is that life is so precious, and at the beginning of December, I was in a car accident, and so just within the last month, you know, I just learned how quickly, you know, things can change in a heartbeat, and just not to take things for granted. And I know that things could have been a lot different than what they were. And so as I start 2019, I'm just going to, you know, not take things for granted. And yeah, so I've learned a lot in 2018, and I know that 2019 is going to be another year where I just grow a lot, and I'm just really excited for all that God has in store for me, and I just look forward to everything that God has in store. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and continue watching my videos. Thank you.